Hey friends, welcome back to Bubbly Balloon Co. My name is Rachel, and in this video, you're gonna get to see me bring this 6 foot by 7 foot Valentine's Day themed balloon wall to life. We're talking 35 plus feet of balloon garland. We're talking accent balloons in latex, in foil, from 6 inch all the way up to 36 inch. So this creation took quite a lot, took the better part of a day to pull off. And if you wanna see it come to life, keep watching. So the main colors I'm working with today are going to be rose from Qualatex and red from Qualatex with a little bit of white, and I might throw in some of these 17-inch baby pink from Tuftex. Okay, I've also got these latex heart balloons. I have the color red from Gemar in 6 inch and the color white from Qualatex in 11 inch. And of course I've got a bunch of assorted Valentine's themed foil balloons that I picked out in my shop with me video. If you want to see what those are, how I picked them out, go ahead and check that video out. But I will be using these for a bunch of detail at the end of this creation. Now the first step to making a balloon wall is of course to make a ton of balloon garland. So depending on how big of a wall you're doing, you might have to do some calculations to figure out exactly how much garland you need. And if that's something you guys would like more on, let me know. I can do a video on that. But for this creation, I'm gonna need probably about 20-30 feet of garland at least for this smaller balloon wall that I'm doing here. So I'm gonna be making this garland using the method I cover in the fastest balloon garland ever video. Now, if y'all been hanging out on my channel for any amount of time, I know you've seen this done a bunch of different times. So I don't wanna bore you and do the same thing over and over again. But what I will do is give you a couple different close-ups so you can maybe see like kind of the handwork involved, get a little bit of a different angle of it, and then I'm not gonna bore you with all like 30 feet of garland making. Okay, I will just go ahead and jump to the end of that, and then I'll show you how I actually put the wall together, and then we will have some fun and detail it and really bring it to life. Now when we're doing a themed, like super detailed balloon wall like we're doing today, the wall itself kind of becomes like a background. So I'm not gonna go so over the top with the garland. I'm gonna go for kind of like the faster the better with that. I want it big and bulky. I want lots of different sizes. I really want that dimension throughout so you can see the kind of volume, you know, kind of changing throughout, but we're gonna be putting on so many foils, these specialty like heart latex balloons. So that's really gonna cover a majority of the wall. So I'm not gonna be super picky or worried about the garland looking perfect. And when I put the wall together, if there's some gaps here and there, it's okay. We're gonna cover so much with the foils and the specialty balloons, okay? Okay, let's get creating. All right, so I've got all of the latex balloons I'll be using in the basic garland here that's gonna make up the bulk of the wall. So I've got my 11s, my 16s, my 17s, my 5s, okay, and I'm just gonna be mixing and matching as usual. So if you don't know this method, or if you'd like to see it done close up, here we go. We're gonna take 2 of any balloons here. Again, I'm mixing and matching size, colors, doesn't much matter. Here we go, I'm gonna inflate them to slightly different sizes. Okay, just pressing there to really round that out, give it that nice, beautiful, bubbly shape. Okay, now I've gotten a lot of questions recently on time, so I'm gonna try and show you this one pretty close up. So I'm just twisting the 2 balloons there, okay, until they're crossed over one another. And I take one neck over the other, push it through, okay, and then pull. And then I just kind of pull on that a little bit so it's, you know, airtight, but I don't wanna like yank and rip it or anything like that. But it's just one time over, single knot. I don't double knot it except for in rarer situations, which I cover, you know, in those circumstances. I always tell you guys about it. But yeah, just one single knot, just like that. And then that is what we call a pair or a duplet. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and make a second duplet here, and we'll put those together. All right, so again, I'm twisting those balloons so the necks are overlapped. Okay, wrap one over the other, push it through, and pull. Okay, so I've got my 2 duplets, and we're gonna do my 2 together twist method. So I've got the 2 here, put the centers together, and then I twist a couple of times, 1 balloon from each duplet to make my first quad. Now I'm gonna make a second quad. I'll twist those together, and then the fun begins. All right, and we use that same method for tying, even when there's a difference in size, like the 11 inch and the 17 inch. It still works. All right, so now I've got my 2 quads here, and again, we're gonna 2 together twist these bad boys, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put them together. I'm gonna take 1 balloon from each quad, okay, and then twist them just a couple of times to secure these 2 together, just like that. And this is my first cluster, you guys. Now these clusters are the basic building block. This is what I'm going to be attaching a bunch of these together to make that entire garland that's going to form the wall itself. So now it's honestly just a speed drill. I want to make a bunch more clusters, honestly, as fast as possible. So here we go. All right, and once we've got our various clusters ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and assemble. Today I'm using a 260 in the color pink from Tuftex. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this through my first cluster and tie it off here. So all I did was go ahead and tie this 260 in, and I did actually double knot it here, okay? So all I'm left with is this long, stretchy end. These 260 balloons are the long, thin ones you use for like twisting animals. I use them a lot in assembly because they're so easy to work with. All right, so I've got this now attached to this cluster. So what I'm gonna do here is get my clusters kind of close together, kind of butt those up where I want them. And then honestly, just pull that 260 through my new cluster a couple of times and wrap it once or twice there. Okay, and now those have been connected, and that's the beginning of my garland. So if you want to see more specifically on how to do this method, go ahead and check out the fastest balloon garland ever video. Right now I'm going to use a little bit of editing magic, speed this up, and we're going to get all these dozens of feet of garland created right now. Okay, we have like 35 feet of balloon garland made, and I can't even fit it all on camera. So what I'm gonna do now is inflate all of my extras, all of my details, have those ready to go. Then I'm gonna set up my frame back here, get it ready for a wall, and we're gonna go ahead and turn all of these individual balloon garlands into a balloon wall. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and inflate all of our specialty balloons we're gonna be using to detail this balloon wall. So the heart balloons, the foils, any little 5-inchers, any accent pieces we're gonna want at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and inflate all of those now so I have them to hand when I need them. And I'm gonna go ahead and store them in one of my pop-up hampers in the meantime, so they're ready to go. So these heart balloons are interesting. If you haven't used them before, this is my first time using them as well. I'm trying to hold it kind of up top when I inflate it to pinch off that airflow so the whole neck doesn't get inflated, because that makes it quite awkward to try to tie. So slide it down a little bit, pinch and inflate for just a couple seconds. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing with the white heart balloons. These are 11-inch instead of 6, so they'll be a little bigger, but I'm still gonna try to pinch it off, direct that airflow towards the top to leave a nice long neck for tying. And I am trimming off any excess of the neck here just below the knot once that's securely tied, just to keep it looking a little bit cleaner and neater, because these are going to be going on top of the wall, not inside of it. So I really want to minimize any like tail or just any extras. Alright, so we've got a bunch of these little cute mini foil hearts here in rose gold. and these do have to be inflated by hand unless you have a special pump that, you know, an automatic pump that can blow them up. I actually do not have one of those yet, so I'll be using a hand pump for these. Now these actually are not self-sealing, so I'm going to go ahead and roll up the tail here, twist that off, and try to tie it with a 260 and hope I can get that secure enough and airtight enough that it will hold for me. All right, so that actually worked out pretty well. So what I'm doing here is inflating this to capacity, and then I'm gonna pinch it off right up top before I let go, okay? Just like that, okay? And I'm gonna kind of push any air that I can up towards the balloon into it. I'm gonna twist that off a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to take my 260 here, wrap it as tightly as I can around that same area. And tie it off. Okay, just like that. I am going to pull it as tight as I can. Hopefully I don't rip the foil. Okay, now I don't have a heat sealer, so this is what I'm doing in lieu of that. Then I'm just going to trim off any excess, and then I will use either a glue dot, some balloon bond, something like that to kind of tuck this tail up, hide it away, and then attach this to the wall. All right, now this was self-sealing, so once that's inflated, just pinch it off there, and it should stay nice and sealed for you. I have quite a few of these to inflate. All right, so for hanging and installation, I'm using my trusty background frame here. I do have a couple videos specifically on this frame. I will link it below if you're interested, as well as a knockoff of it. But what I'm gonna be using is 260s, these long, thin, stretchy balloons. I'm gonna go ahead and tie them all along the top, all along the sides, and I'm gonna start tying in my garlands in formation, okay? And then I'm gonna start tying those together and just kind of really filling it out, filling it in. Now I've set the frame to about 6 feet by 6 feet, and I do have 6 different garlands that are about 6 feet in length. So we're just gonna start filling this out and bring it to life. Okay, when we're using a frame as the backdrop for a wall, you can go over the edges, okay? It's only this tall. My garland here is a little bit longer, taller, so it's gonna extend beyond the frame. That's totally fine. We can build it out more to the sides, more on top. So what I'm doing is placing this garland at floor level, okay? And then however tall it comes up, I'm gonna tie it in place right there on the far edge, all the way up, start in one side, one corner, and then work my way across. And really try to work with the garland as I go to twist it, turn it, get it how I want it to be seen at the end. And then I'm also gonna be tying the individual garlands together to one another as I work my way across to really just try to keep it as tight and as together as possible. Okay, so we've got the first 2 balloon garlands in place here. Ideally, in a perfect world, you wouldn't even be able to tell that this was done from individual garlands. If we can get those clusters really tight enough, close enough together, and really secure them in place. And then of course, we're gonna go through at the end, we're gonna fill in holes with extra balloons, 5-inch balloons, not to mention all those detailed latex and foil balloons we have as well, okay? But for now, we're just gonna keep on adding garlands in until we get all the way across, build out the wall as large as we want it, and just try to make it look as tight and cohesive as possible. Okay, now that we've got this mostly put together back here, we do have a lot of holes and gaps to fill in, but I'm gonna go ahead and start filling in with my largest accent pieces first, which is gonna be this 36-incher. This is in baby pink from Tuftex, okay, same as my 17s. And then I also have a large foil balloon that's a good like kind of focal point. So I'm gonna play with that as well. And I think I'll start with these two pieces and then I'll accent around them. So once we've added in as many small detail balloons as we want, we're all done with this Valentine's Day themed balloon wall behind me here. Now all in this ended up being about 7 feet wide and about 6 feet tall. So this is a pretty big sucker. It did take 6 individual balloon garlands to create. I used 5-inch, 11-inch, 16, 17-inch. I used 136 and then a bunch of foils around here to really accent it and make it pop. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I hope you had as much fun watching this creation come to life as I had bringing it to life for you. I'm wishing you a very happy Valentine's Day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Lots of love.